So welcome to our 7th Ulster County Women's Network Zoom event. If you haven't been before, you've missed some really great events, and it's always a lot of fun to see everybody, especially in this trying time. We all need these connections, and I hope that you'll make a point of coming and showing up here so that we can all at least just say hi, because we never get to see so many people that we used to see regularly. I'm Leslie Snow, president of Ulster County Women's Network, and we are fortunate to have with us today 9 Ulster County Women's Network members who are also fabulous artists. And they are going to show us their studios and their work. So welcome and thank you all for coming. First, let me introduce the members of our advisory committee. We have Gloria Wasselin. Wave your hand, Gloria. She's here somewhere. I don't see her just yet. She's vice president. And then we have Judy Kerman, editor. She's one of the dynamic duos that helped put this together. Rachel Jackson and Sheila Gould, our community relations coordinators. And Kristen Wenger is our dynamic duo coordinator. And as I said, our dynamic duos for this event are Judy and Shelley Perriott. So she wasn't able to be here today. And so I want to thank everybody for being here, and for you and Judy and Shelley for putting this together. It was a big job, but you did it. Before I turn it over to Kristen, I want us to take a few moments, like we always do, to acknowledge our grief over the 239,000 people who have died in the United States only, and the countless others who have suffered from this pandemic here in our country and throughout the world. So please acknowledge it in any way you see fit. Thank you. Now it's showtime. Kristen, unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and welcome members and guests. Thank you to Judy Kerman and Shelley Perriott for coordinating this event. And I'll just ask, if you have questions as we go along, please put them in the chat box and we'll get to them at the end, just so we can manage our time. I'm going to give a short bio for each of our artists. And if you would like more information, please refer to the website. There are longer bios there. Tonight, we're going to start with Judy Kerman and Shelley Perriott, and I'm going to give their 2 intros right now, and then turn things over to Judy for the presentations. So Judy Kerman is a poet. She's designed and created books, jewelry, and small sculptural objects over many years. Her work is sold at Etsy.com, at Mayapple Arts, and at the Woodstock Art Exchange. She's a publisher, editor, and designer at Mayapple Press, a small literary press. And Shelley Perriott's color-filled sculpture, from miniature interior wall pieces to large-scale interactive works, speaks of the dichotomy and integration between our physical and spiritual aspects and the transitory nature of form. Exhibited in New York City, throughout the Hudson Valley, and the US and Europe, her work has received numerous honors and awards. Now I'll turn things over to Judy.
Thank you, Kristen, very much. I decided I would do a video. It would keep better control of my time. So I'm going to share the screen, and you're looking at the chairlift that brings me up 1/2 a flight, and my rack where the mask molds are kept,
and then lots of storage. And this is the area where, when I get back to doing glass lamp working, I will be doing it. And then this is the kiln that I haven't used yet, that I will when I start doing glass work again. And right above it, there's a tumbler and lots of storage. And then over here, there is a bench that I use with hammers, and there's also a bench pin for sawing. And next to it, a little sink that I put in last year, which is a delight, not having to haul gallon jugs of water up and down stairs. And next to that, the bench where I do grinding and my flex shaft, and if I have any painting to do, I'm likely to do it there. And then more storage, and then this is the bench where I do soldering, and then we're back around to the stairs again.
What I'm going to show you is how I started doing what are these Shekinah objects. It's moving rather fast. That's a mezuzah case, and these are jewelry pieces that some people, friends of mine, have bought. And then there are just a little bit of my jewelry. This is the first wax I ever made. And glass and opals and an early piece of fold forming and my first box. And I got the idea of doing this menorah when I was looking for candle cups and couldn't find any. So I made them out of rifle shells. And this one has on it swords into plowshares. I have a mask collection. This is a serious mask collection. And this is the first one I ever did of my own. And this is a more recent one, but I really didn't know how to do them yet. So I'm going to show you pictures of working with my teacher in the Dominican Republic. You start with clay and more clay, and then you shape it, and then you shape it some more, and you shape it some more, and those are his hands. His name is Jesus Felix. And there I am. This is 20 years ago. Now it's all covered with newspaper, and now it's all covered with heavy, strong paper from concrete bags. And you cut it off after it's all dry, and you paste it back together, and you trim the edges, and you cut out the eyes. And if you don't want your own eyes to be seen, you put in screen, and you paint, and you paint. And that's the final paint job. This is rigged up so you can wear it. And that is the form in which it is now in my house. I didn't realize this went so fast. This is a rack of all of the molds and some of the paper mache masks that I have created since I started doing it at home. And I got interested in book arts years ago. So these are a few. This is actually in a little box from Blueberries. And the problem with books is you can't just look at them. You have to open them. They're performances. This is, as you will see, a very large book made of folded paper glued together. It's about 4 feet long. But I decided masks and books are kind of related things. So this is a mask book. That is another mask book. This is another mask book. And here's what it looks like inside. It just has a poem in it. This one has writing on it. This I made to do a performance as a clown. And this is my best mask book. So this is what happens when you open it. And this is inside it. And that is the cover of a book right there. It's another book. When you open that book, there's another book inside it. And that is that littlest book. And then this is the larger book. So that's my little video. I'm sorry, it probably went faster than it should. I didn't realize that it was going to be quite so speedy. But just to give you a sense, you know, I can't just do one thing. I can't just do one thing. So that's, anyway, a quick trip through my crazy world. I've been doing more jewelry than anything else, but I'm about to enter two little masks in the 5x7 show for the Birdcliff Guild. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is Shelley Parriot's work. And there's no sound to this. So that's Shelley. And I'm going to read you her artist statement. If I can get it up here. There we go. She says, designed as patterned as multiples, these prismatic structures have the potential to be developed up to any scale, indoors or outdoors. Participants spontaneously walk into and through shimmering forms, which may extend as far as the site or the project permits. Perforated sheer metal structures appear to be delicate and airy, as if they're made of glass or fabric. But industrial materials and proper site-specific installation in any size or color provide the solidity, structural strength, and durability to withstand outdoor weather conditions and support interactions with the public. There's one of them in front of the building that used to be Catskill Art Supply in Woodstock. Landscapes and urban spaces are transformed by expansive fields of color, imbued with light. Transparent multi-hued structures redefine, merge into, and emerge from the environment, transforming the atmosphere. Monumental in size and visual impact, yet illusory, overlapping layers create environments that immerse the surroundings and the spirit in vibrant, interactive, multidimensional experiences of light and space. Spaces appear and disappear, one behind another. Visually and conceptually, these colorful constructions simultaneously present a dichotomy and an integration between the corporeal and the ephemeral, our physical and spiritual aspects, and the transitory nature of form.
Oh, they're lovely.
She did a little display at the that gallery that's called the Framing Shop next door to Solar Generation, and they were projecting photographs on them at night. And that's her down on the kind of left part. And that's the last one of hers.
They're wonderful.
So that's me and Shelley, the dynamic duo. And the next person presenting is Geraldine Babroff.
So Geraldine Babroff has worked in art for over 40 years. She makes contemporary, whimsical ceramics that sell in galleries and stores worldwide. They are in many private collections, as well as the Jewish Museum in New York City. And these days, she's been painting on canvas with acrylic paint with the same whimsy as her ceramics. She likes to bring out the moments in life that have passion. Geraldine?
These are some ceramics. The middle one is a table.
Yeah.
And I know Carol's got one of those. And
Look, I've got a whole collection. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? That's a beauty, Judith.
Yeah.
I mean, Geraldine, beautiful.
Thank you. And then, I did this man and women. I did all kinds of crazy things. This is just
I like that one.
some of them. The teapot on top of the table and salt and pepper, the dog and hydrant. So
The
that
teapot is fantastic.
so that's that. And then this. Oh, and then I also do like full length sculptures, and so I call that an unfinished. She's pregnant. I don't know, you can't tell, but she's also unfinished herself. Oh, this I painted recently. because of this pandemic, it's called quarantine. It's sort of the way I feel looking out the window with all the beautiful colors and flowers, and I'm stuck in the house with my dog. So I think those are the photos, yeah.
Hi, I'm Geraldine Babroff, and I'd like to show you some of my work, my artwork that I've been working on for the last 45 years. So I've done a lot with ceramics, and here's some from all different eras that I have left now. I've always done a lot of shows, but I haven't done shows in a few years, and with this quarantine, really. So a lot of these pieces are from all different parts of my career. I started out doing craft shows on the streets, and was surprised to see people actually bought my work, and some really loved my work, and that really inspired me to continue on. And I do sculptures, one-of-a-kind sculptures, and some of these pieces you might have seen in Gloria's gallery recently. I've sold my work in Nordstrom's and Marshall Field and really all over the world, different countries, Japan, Switzerland, Paris. For many years I did the Handmade and the New York Gift Show, which really introduced me to just so many buyers and places, and I ended up having to hire several people to help me produce the work. And I designed a line that I could reproduce, because when a store orders work, they want exactly what they see and not another one-of-a-kind piece. So that was something I learned the hard way. And I've been doing a lot of paintings recently, so I do enjoy painting. And now with this quarantine, I have a lot of time to do it. And of course, faces are something I don't know, I just love to do. All kinds of fun pieces. And that's all. Hope you enjoyed it.
Loved it.
Oh, thank you.
David too.
Great, Geraldine.
Oh,
Can we move on?
sorry.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thanks, yeah, thank you.
So next we have Sarah Beams, and Sarah and her husband Michael will produce handmade fused glass Judaica, home accessories and jewelry. Beams' design work can be found in galleries and craft shops throughout the United States, as well as in Europe, South Africa, Australia, and Japan, and in special collections. Their goal is to create artwork that is functional, aesthetically appealing, and accessibly priced. Sarah?
Hi, everybody. Hi, I see Carol. Carol must have a house full of my work and Geraldine's work.
I do.
don't know that there's room for anything else in there.
No, there isn't. But I love seeing this and how you guys are creating it.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a video that Judy has. I did a video because I thought it was my studio, like Judy's, is very spread out with a lot of different workstations. So I put together a little video. Judy? Hello, this is Sarah from Beams Designs, and I wanted to welcome you to my studio here in Kingston, New York. I create fused glass Judaica and jewelry, and I've been doing this as a business for 30 years. My pieces are sold all over the country in craft galleries and Judaica stores, and in a lot of online stores as well. So the process of fusing is really pretty simple, and it dates back to the ancient Egyptians a few millennium ago, and you can see samples of that in the Corning Museum of Glass in Corning, New York. The process itself is basically you take a sheet of glass, you cut it, you put the pieces together, you put them in a kiln, you fire the kiln to approximately 1400 to 1500 degrees, depending on how many layers of glass you're firing together. And then you let the glass cool down in a controlled rate until it gets to about 950 degrees, and then you let it soak for an hour. That's called annealing, and that's important because it lets the stress release from the glass. If that stress sets up and it's not released, the piece will fall apart. Usually when you open the kiln, it will have cracked, but it could be sitting on a shelf ages later, and all of a sudden the stress, it just has to let go, and bing, the piece will just pop apart. So anyway, the process, as I say, you cut the glass, you put it in the kiln, you take it out of the kiln, you grind it, because the edges of the glass, what happens is as the glass fires, it's expanding, and then as it contracts, it's forming like little widow peaks, kind of a little rough edge. And I call them widow peaks because basically they're going to tear your hands apart when you handle it. So you have to grind that on a diamond wheel to take those edges off, and then wash the piece, and then do your final gluing, put the piece together. Pretty simple so far, right? So what makes it unique, though, is how you work with the glass. And what I've developed over the years is using a lot of different materials that are compatible with the glass, meaning that they will expand and contract at that same rate as the glass, so it doesn't crack the glass. And some of the stuff that I use, I'll show you. I use glass confetti. So these are paper thin little shards, paper thin shards of glass, right? That I layer onto the glass, and then I put it in the kiln. But let me step back for a moment and just show you. This is the beginning of a frame. So it's clear glass and white glass. I've cut them with straight edge. I've glued them together. Good, but pretty boring. And I'll just show you, here's a straight edge cutter. It's a circle cutter and a hand cutter. And these tools haven't really changed very much in decades, if not hundreds of years. But getting back to the picture frame, I take that basic frame, I take my confetti, here's some samples of that paper thin confetti, and I layer it onto the piece, and then it goes in the kiln, and these pieces all fire together. And what I mean by putting together at the end is it ground and wash, and I add the clear glass, and I add the frame backing, so that's all the steps at the end part. Another process I like to work with, this is frit, which is finely ground glass. This is enamel, which is also glass. It's basically silica with oxides mixed for different colors. I also use mica. This is gold mica, copper mica, and I sift these on to the glass. Again, these are really, this very fine powder, and I always wear, don't worry, I always wear a respirator when I'm using these materials in the studio. Another thing that I can work with is silver leaf, and I take literally these thin bits of silver leaf and tear them up and put them between layers of glass, and when they come out of the kiln, it looks something like this. And then I cut those pieces into little pieces, and I grind the edges on a diamond wheel and fire them again, and then they become jewelry. Another process with the frit, I can layer it up, and when it comes out of the kiln, I create a sheet of glass. Sorry, I don't have a full sheet to show you, but then I slice up the sheet. And I also have been working with laser cut wood. So I then put this behind the laser cut wood to create a mezuzah. With the enamels will fire into the glass, but the mica won't. So the mica has to be trapped behind another layer of glass. So this is an example. This is, I call it a standalone. It's a little freestanding plaque. It has a home blessing on it. And another example of the gold mica is this menorah. And this menorah then is basically, it started as flat glass. It has this gold mica, which was painted on, but there's another layer of glass over it. And then there's more layers, little bits of glass on top of that. And then dichroic glass, which is this super luminescent colored glass that was actually created by NASA for the space shuttle, if you can believe it. But a bunch of glass artists discovered it in the 80s and 90s and went to town with it. So something like that I can use also in other, this is a menorah that, again, this hasn't been fired. So this is just, everything's been glued together. And with what I like to say, my special fusing glue, you put it together, you let it sit so that you can pick it up and put it over a mold in the kiln. And when it fires, sorry I don't have a sample of the white one, but here it is in a different colored glass. So it's been fired over a mold and it has that super luminescent dichroic glass in it. So that's just some samples of my work and how I work. And I thank you for visiting my studio. And if I can ever answer any questions, just let me know. If you'd like to see my work online, it's www.beams.com. So again, thanks so much for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.
I love that video, Sarah. That's really
Great video,
fine.
Sarah.
Sorry, I might have gotten a little long, but sorry about that. But I hope you all enjoyed it.
You had so much information to share. It was awesome.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
Was that from your phone or was that oh, really? It was very professional.
I don't know if it was my internet where it was really kind of chopped up. Was that, did everybody have that, or is that hopefully not? Okay, good.
Yeah,
My internet's very unstable today. So good. I'm glad you all got it nice and smoothly then. Okay, great.
Great. Thanks so much, Sarah. Appreciate it. This is exciting. Next, we have Liz Horn. And Liz and Ron Zucker have been making jewelry professionally since the 1970s. Studies have included such places as Hunter College of Fine Arts, the Jewelry Workshop, the Art Student League, the Craft Student League, Parsons School of Design, and the Fashion Institute of Technology. So I'll turn it over to Liz.
Here I am.
Liz, I'll open up your.
Okay.
Liz did another movie.
Okay. Hello. Welcome to my studio. My name is Liz Horn, and along with my husband, Ron Zucker, we've been making jewelry in the studio for the last 30 years when we built it. And it's been our dream studio. It's beautiful light, and it's an inspiration to work here in Woodstock. The type of work we do is construction, and we construct most of our jewelry out of sterling silver, sheet, and wire. Both these materials come like that. And over here I have a piece that I started that'll maybe give you some idea how it's done. This is sheet, and this is wire. These will be attached here. This is just the beginning of the shape. And the shape is cut out with a fine saw. It's just like a thread. And we cut the shape out, and then we cut away all the excess to create a piece. This is my workbench. I have all my little inspirations, like from nature, which is not to be competed with. There's nothing more beautiful. And I love the ballet, the beauty of the human form. This pair of stones, I've already started making a setting for, which is on the other workbench over here. And I'm making a setting out of silver and gold with that. And it's been in the works for a very long time. But ultimately, we'll get finished. That's my husband's workstation. And this is are some of the tools that we use. We have different kind of hammers, mallets. That's a little anvil that we use. This is like a tool that stamps sterling silver is written there, and you put it on the metal, give it a whack, and it's a sterling. And you have to be honest, which we are. Over here I have some pieces that we're working on. They're not, these are earrings. These are lava stones from Italy. This is lapis, turquoise, and the stones aren't set yet. They'll be finished soon. And here is our polisher, where we bring the sterling silver up to a really high polish. And this piece needs a final polish, and it's a piece I made for a customer with her stone. And it's just about ready to go. Over here, I have some of our finished pieces. This is a piece of lapis that you can wear on two sides. We cut this out with that saw that I showed you. And this is the type of work we do with the saw also. The whole bracelet can be worn either way. These are picture jaspers. This is a Botswana agate with moonstone. These are 14 karat gold earrings with diamonds and opals. This is an old 1920s piece of etched glass that we cut with a pearl, sterling silver. This is a geode with tourmaline and pearl with a little bit of gold and mostly sterling. These are antique Limoges that I made into earrings. We just love the color, and we like old things. Tiger eye earrings, bracelet, sterling, earrings, sterling. The variety of rings that we've done in gold and silver, and some of our earrings, a lot of different kind of earrings that we cut out of silver.
Where can you buy these, Liz?
Our work is currently at the Birdcliff Gallery, and they have some of the earrings that we have, and they have some rings. We sold recently some rings, and they've had our work for quite a while.
How did you used to sell these jewelry before Birdcliff shop was there?
Well, before COVID, I should say, we sold at a lot of craft shows in the Northeast. We went to Maryland almost every year. We were in Pittsburgh. We didn't travel too far. In the New York metropolitan area, we were very successful in any show in Manhattan. And we did all the shows in Manhattan that we could.
So this was really your means of livelihood?
Yes.
For the last 35 years or so?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful.
It was, you know, some shops, but that wasn't our main focus.
Mm-hmm. If I wanted to make an appointment, could I?
Oh, sure.
To get something made?
If you want something made, if we don't have this, if you have your own stone, we'd be happy to do something to order for you, do some sketches for your approval. And if you don't have the stone, we have a lot of hundreds of stones that we could show you. You could pick one out, and we could, if you like something about this piece of jewelry, if you like a little something about that, we could combine our technique to create what you like.
Great. What are these books?
Oh, we have hundreds of, well, not hundreds, but probably 200 books. This is like, I'm drawing the ballet. So if you're doing figures, it's inspiring. Book on Fabergé, fantastic. And Jewelry Through the Ages, which is every aspect of jewelry. Folk, primitive and folk jewelry. We have lots of books that have been an inspiration to us. And I'll show you our book collection is over here. All types of books on the techniques of jewelry, the design of jewelry, gems, craft.
Lots of books.
Lots of books. And here too.
Wow. Okay.
This is called the Jewelry Bible, jewelry making.
Fantastic.
So I guess I gave you an idea about what goes into making jewelry, and we've been mentoring kids from the high school right here at Onteora.
How nice.
We've had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 kids over 7 years.
Wonderful.
They get 25 hours in our studio and they both make beautiful things.
Oh my
And
God.
it gives us joy.
Yeah.
Let me give a shout out to Rachel Jackson, who helped me make the little tour of our studio.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, I feel like this is so special that we're able to learn about the process of these amazing artists. It's just like a little secret backstage tour. So it's really so fascinating. Next, we have Alyssa Queenie Matthews. And Alyssa studied at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City and worked as a designer at Van Cleef & Arpels. She works in gold, silver, precious and semi-precious gems. And she teaches at Hudson Valley Silverworks in Kingston. So I'll hand it over to Alyssa.
Thank you so much. I knew I'd forget to unmute. So nice to be with you all this evening. This is so much fun seeing everyone's work. With now I can see the work with the faces, and I love that. So here's my studio. I've been a jeweler for over 45 years, and I've worked in fine jewelry, costume jewelry, and craft jewelry. So I kind of run the gamut, and I also try to do a little bit, add all the different parts of it together. So my studio is quite small. It's in the attic of my house, and I have a gorgeous view of the Catskill Mountains, but I don't really have the need for a bigger space, so it suits me just fine. Okay, so you can go, thank you. So I'm just gonna show you rings tonight because I just thought it'd be kind of a fun type of just one style of things that I do. And this is a labradorite ring that is heavy bezel set, it's called. And you have to actually use a hammer and a punch to move the metal around the stone. You have to be very careful not to break the stone. And it's really become a popular style. So the next one is my dozer ring, which was, I get these ideas in my head and they stick there for a couple weeks. I can't stop thinking about them. And I have to make it. I just have to make it. So that's my dozer ring, just a frivolous little thing. So the next one is a commission from a client. She had her engagement ring had this gorgeous rectangular stone, emerald shape, and she wanted to modernize it because it was very old fashioned. So we took the design of adding the different shapes and different ways of setting and added them all together. And this is a platinum ring that I did for her. And this is my stone on stone. This is one of the classes I teach at Hudson Valley Silverworks. And it's actually doing two bezels, one on the outer and one on the inner, and joining the two together. Next, please. Thank you. That's my Saturn ring, which is, again, heavy bezel set. I guess I like that way of setting. And the top is lapis, and the ring has 4 garnets around the outside, and that ring actually spins. So it's kind of a fun fidget kind of ring to wear. So in my next bunch of slides, I wanted to show you my process when I make something out of wax. Even though most of my work is out of metal, I really enjoy making wax pieces. And I was asked to do a special ring. And so this is a block of wax that I cut the basic shape out of. Next slide, please. And this is the block that I got, that I made out of it. And I have to square off the block so that everything is parallel to each other. And then I mark it for where the finger is going to go. Next, please. And this is open. This is the wax that's been opened up, and it's the size of the client's finger. And then the next one is the design etched, etched on the outside of the wax. And if you look closely, you might be able to see that it's two snake heads. And so I start by putting the design on it. Then I start taking the chunks of wax, take away everything that's not snake, put it that way. And here you can see I started shaping the back of the ring. And if you look closely also in the middle, you'll see that there's still some wax there in between the two heads. I felt that it would keep it more stable if I put wax in between. So after it was cast, this way they wouldn't move around at all. It'd be a complete round ring. And this one is with starting to take shape. And the next one is, you can see a tiny bit. I took some of the wax off the middle and then shaped the outside and make sure the outside was the right shape before I started taking away to rounding it. And the next slide is that's odd. Well, anyway, I rounded it more. I don't know what happened to it, but I rounded it more, and you can see the faces are in there, and there will be diamonds on top, and I had to open up the holes for the diamonds. And there from the side, you can see the face is carved in with the holes for the diamonds on top, and the lips for the snakes. But do snakes have lips? I don't know. Next, please. And here the diamonds are being fitted into the wax. I want to take the metal out when I am putting the stone in there, so that I don't have to do that in the metal. I can, but this way it's all done and prepared beforehand. Next, please. And this is the wax that's been cast. I don't cast my own work. I do send it out to a caster in the city. And this is that odd kind of look, that the color of it. It's 18 karat yellow gold. And that look is just because of the process. And then the next slide, it is after I've not polished, I've sanded and filed my piece. That is the way it looks. And then I take out the piece in the middle in between the two heads. And the next one, ta-da, is the finished ring with the two diamonds set on the top, flush set. Oh, and I soldered on the eyeballs and a little bit of engraving around the diamonds. And I hope you enjoyed my little foray here. And thank you so much for listening. And everything's on my website if you happen to want to take a look. And yes, I do teach at Hudson Valley Silverworks.
She's a great teacher too. I've taken classes with her.
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you so much. Next, we have Basha Ruth Nelson, who's a sculptor and installation artist, and she received her MA from New York University. Her solo exhibitions include the NoHo Gallery, 60 Washington Square East Galleries, and the Project Space, also York College in Queens, and the Woodstock Artists Association and Museum in our lovely Woodstock, New York. Yeah. So I'll turn it over to Basha.
Thanks so much. And wow, I'm enjoying seeing everyone's work. This is a photo of the Poughkeepsie Underwear Factory at 8 North Cherry Street, and that's where my studio is. And you also see photos of the inside of my studio. Judy, if I click, can I click on the arrow? No.
I have to do it.
Okay, next. That's another image of my studio. You can see the doorway into it, and then a table with some of my very small, my miniature sculptures, and some people visiting. And so what I thought I would do is show you some of my site-specific sculptures, my work with aluminum flashing, and then finally show you a bit about my Freedom Project. So next, yeah. this piece is called Beyond, and it's at Riverfront Green Park in Peaksville, New York. And I created it and placed it so it frames Bear Mountains. And so when you come, it invites you to look beyond where you are and see into the distance and see the wonder of Bear Mountains. And the next one. Yeah, this is Red Circle. It was created for the loveliest couple who wanted to sit at their kitchen dining table and look out at their garden and see that specific spot. So I framed it for them. And next is another in a private collection. It's called Wave. And the next one, please. So this begins some of the aluminum work. I work with aluminum flashing that builders use in roofing and in siding. And the next pieces I'm going to show to you, yeah, that's an installation that I did for a couple in Woodstock. And the next slide is another fireplace wall, only this is in Vermont and huge. And the next one. Now I wanted to tell you about my process. So I know what the size of the space is, and I'll cut the flashing, and then I just begin to fold one of the pieces. I just fold it, bend it. Sometimes I roll it around to form and I hang it. And then I look at it, and based on that first form, I create the next one, and so on as I create the whole piece. So what happens is one strip tells me what the next one needs to be. So the folding is intuitive in part, and then I refine the pieces according to what I know about art and what I see. And so these pieces are a combination. So I wanted to show you this piece, which is a very full piece. And then the next one, which is the same material. There's copper in this. And it's, this one is called Sonata. The previous one was called Symphony. And for me, the grace of this one speaks to me about a sonata. And then the next one is a small wall piece that's in the collection at Wham, in their museum collection, which I'm very happy about. It's called Crush. And the next one is called Surf. And it reminds me of the surf. I love the ocean and I love music. So those themes keep coming up for me. And the next one, this is called Torrent. And I was thinking of waterfalls, and I was thinking of one in particular that's on the way to Pennsylvania, that's very high and very strong water. And so I created the metal, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't saying it. And then I put it on this red felt background. I felt that red had the power that I wanted. And I also added white netting because as the water falls, it's frothy. And then the piece was complete for me. And the next one is a close-up of of one of the parts of it. And then moving on, these are some of my miniatures. This one is called Bridge. And the next slide, the one on the left is called Swirl. The one on the right is called Reach. And the process that I use is still the same. I'll pick up a piece of metal. It might be a cutting from a larger installation that I did. And the metal just speaks to me. It just literally tells me where it wants to go. And I follow that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then I have to think about it. And now I'm going to leave the metal and I'm going to begin to talk about my freedom project that has taken numerous forms over these last years. I started also to work with books and creating books. And this one is called History Unfolds. And I placed this on a mirror that surrounds the book. So when the viewer comes up to it, they also see some images of themselves, because we are part of creating our history and the history of the world around us. So that's one of the paper pieces I created. And the next one also is called Freedom Story. And the story is coming out of the frame. It's being written. And you see the quote on the right. That's Moshe Dayan's quote, freedom is the oxygen of the soul. And the quote that I'm hiding is Abraham Lincoln's, and Lincoln said, freedom is the last best hope of earth. And moving on to my interactive freedom project. The next slides are part of my freedom project installation that I had at HV Mocha. And again, I work intuitively. I hang the paper intuitively. I start somewhere in the room and I hang some, and then I look at it and I see what color I want next, what shape, what size. And I invite people to tear down the walls of paper and then to write their thoughts and feelings on the walls that are exposed. And I also create a floor that people can write on. And you see how these children are concentrating and thinking about freedom and what to write. And I have found that no matter what the age, people take this very seriously. And the next slide shows what it looks like after the walls are down and people have written all over the walls and the floor. And I love it this way also. I call it the rubble that remains. And finally, I just wanted to show you some of the hundreds of things that people have written. Some are humorous. He promised me the world, but I said I had my own. And some aren't. Someone wrote, I'm in pain every day. And someone else wrote, you are not alone. Someone wrote, with autism, I foresee how I will face. I can't read it. I will face people who will ridicule my behavior, but that does not mean that I will be limited to attain so much. So I've shown you the gamut. My work with it, 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, is basically an intuitive process refined by what I see and what I know. And my artwork, what I try to do is have it represent my thoughts and feelings.
Thank you so much. Very powerful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as someone put in the chat, it's just so important now. You know? Great. So next we have Naomi Schmidt. And Naomi has been a graphic designer for more than 30 years, working on websites and print. She's also worked in watercolor sketching and batik. And she enjoys the creative potential of website design. So I will turn things over to Naomi. Thank you.
Hi all. Well, I'm at the end, so I'm going to try and make this short and sweet. I'll just show you a few things here and there. So let me just share my screen. All right, so I've started with PDFs. So I'm going to actually start not with here. Let me go to my website. Basically that shows you everything. I want to come here, the first few. So here are some websites I've done. Actually, I've opened them up. I don't know why I did it here. So this, my newest websites are basically, I try and keep very clean and open. Like you can see this one. Here's another one, changes. As you can see, they would stock very clean and open. And this one was just a blog. But again, just as I sometimes go through very colorful phases. That's why you see with my website, I'm using a lot of color, but now, you know, but I'm going through a clean phase. So those are websites. And I've got a whole lot more, but I've just kept to a few. Then when I do a few, homespun is one of my main clients. So basically my main thing is doing their top image, and then there's the email. And another image, I just did this last week. And then just basically it's the sale email, but I've printed this. That's why you're seeing it on 2 pages. Of course, as you get the email, it won't be like this. So I create the the image, put that in, and then do the products. Here's a logo. I don't actually do that many logos. I don't know why, but I do some, and this is one of them, and I actually like it. It's very simple. Worked closely with them. Ads going way back. I don't do that many print. I used to do a lot of printed ads, but print is not around that much, so I don't do that much printed ads anymore. Here is a book. It's very simple, but it was for the film festival. Whoops, let me do that. So basically, it was a book of all the posters through the years. And I'm going to get to, just because number 8, that was Milton Glaser. And here, I'm just going to put this one on because Karen Whitman is on. So just this, she did this poster. And actually, I really loved this poster. So 2008, she did this poster. Here's a postcard I did, just simple, but I kind of like it. Then just getting to regular things like the Medical Associates of the Hudson Valley doing their brochures. That's basically what you need to do is I've got to get a template and pretty much keep within their template. You know, the person, sometimes you have, this is family medicine. Sometimes this could just be one line, but make it so that when they're on the rack, they all look the same. So some things don't look like they're much, but they're actually a lot of work so that I can keep continuity. Now here's a real estate brochure. Again, keeping to that simple theme, just keep it simple. It was really nice little house, Handy's Walk. Anyway, so there we go. Happy Life, this is a catalog, so more busy, but it has to be busy. He wants to show as much product as he wants. So we just go through, and now this took all year. I started this in February and I finished this in the end of July, the beginning of August. So this is the cover. And this was really a fun project to do, with working here, the science of flowers. So basically, I'm not going to go through in fact, here's one of the pages, and I've opened up the book. So to do this, you had to bring on all the images, and I've actually had to use a whole lot of layers. So each image, and layers, let me just see, window, layers. So here I had the original drawing, so you could see the original drawing was there. I put these images over it and then put the text. And I made sure that these images of the flowers were on one layer, the text was all on another layer, and then just regular text on yet a third layer, text to family, color drawings, and originals, so that when I needed to edit something, it was easier to just shut off a layer and I could work with something. You see, that was the text. So just going back to the book, and as I said, it took a long time to do this. I mean, when we first started, he didn't use student drawings, but that's what this is about. So I said, and he had these student drawings in his file. So I said, you know, I think it would be quite interesting if we had the flowers and what he had, and then how the students interpreted his flowers. And it actually became quite popular. You know, I think he liked it. He said he sold quite a few books, you know, and you can tell, like, students, like, this was more, these images were tighter, some are looser, like that. It was just a nice project. So I'll go back here. This was for this last year. So basically I take the poster of the year and then I cut and crop it and create whatever needs to be done for the year for the Woodstock Film Festival. So last year, this was the design, and it was only drive-in and virtual. So I actually had to add this because when we made the poster, we should have asked her for this, but that wasn't in it. And then I'll go to Photoshop for a while. Here's another card. And I just take photography too. Like, this is a barn with this growing through it. I just love that. We had an amazing fall this year, so I enjoy taking pictures. Cooper Lake is where I go just about every day, so I take tons and tons of pictures at Cooper Lake. And this rainbow went all the way across, and the light was just amazing. It was just a magic day. Then milkweed, some more fall, more fall. This I took just a day or two ago. My road with the sun coming through. I know yet you shouldn't take photos into the sun, but I love it. Yeah?
You're running out of time.
All right, I'm done. That's it.
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you. All right, let me unstop sharing. There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we've gone way past our time.
Well, everybody has so many interesting things to share, so I know it's hard. Last but not least, we have Gloria Waslin, and
Oh,
Gloria's
sorry, I thought I was the last. Sorry about that.
It's no problem. Gloria's family of blue and gold macaws have been the primary subjects of her documentary photography. And Gloria was a vice president of the Professional Women's Photography Association in New York City for years before moving upstate. Her exhibitions throughout New York City and at the United Nations focused exclusively on the portraits of people holding the peace parrots at various peace, ecology, and educational events.
Hi, how are you, everybody? I have been doing a lot of photography upstate, mostly not of my parrots because they're not welcomed everywhere. So I take a lot of community activity photographs. But my main passion in life is the documentation of my Parrots for Peace. And the image that you're seeing right now is a woman, Constance Rudd, who is on the board of Parrots for Peace. So that's nice. I think that might have been a Faso Friday. And the little girl in this photograph and the older brother met the first boy still just coming out of the egg and was too small to see anybody. But Ari, the boy, and Giddle, the girl, both wanted the Parrots for Peace family to be at their respective bar mitzvahs and bas mitzvahs in Queens because I coached their father and their mom, and they got to see the parents having their first baby. So it was just so sweet. The activities was very involved with Parrots for Peace at their respective bar mitzvahs and bas mitzvahs. It was about taking care of nature and loving all life on the planet. So they have actually almost grown up from childhood. Well, they have grown up from childhood, sharing stories about Parrots for Peace. So that's sweet. And this is one of the community photographs. This is Winston Queen. I know his mom. She does reenactments of Sojourner Truth and a few other important figures in the movement of freedom, as we're talking about freedom. And he loves the Parrots for Peace, and they try to go to everything that they can go to support freedom for all beings, including their motto is, "May there be peace with Mother Earth among all people, animals, and nature." And this image is Miss Merlin and Mr. Baby. I didn't take the children. That was the first time the kids didn't go. But Tanika is one of the founders with her husband, Martin, of a fairly new restaurant in Kingston called Seasoned Delicious. And it's a Caribbean restaurant, but she enjoyed meeting the Parrots for Peace and felt like she was in the islands with the babies. And the Parrots for Peace are not directly involved with something called Go Beyond Greatness, but I speak about them at this program that's run by a couple of people, primarily well, there are a couple of people that run there, and it's combined with a boys organization too that was started by a guy named Frank in Ellenville, and they get together with all kinds of activities. So the Parrots for Peace are partly involved with that, and they basically inject themselves into the idea that we are all on one planet together, and we need to get along and understand each other. And this is their little home cage. They have the entire living room, actually. So this is the daddy over on the far right, the mommy next to him, and then the three children chowing down, their favorite activity. So people come to see, this is the birth of the third child. This is Little Hope, not Little Hope, Young Hope. And the idea of that name, well, I'll tell you there are three names. The first child is named Peacenik after Pete Seeger because Peacenik was conceived on his shoulders when the Parrots for Peace sang with him every week for almost 18 years since 9/11, and we went into Afghanistan. So we traveled up from New York to sing with him every Saturday from noon to 2. And Baby and Merlin, the Parrots for Peace, had gone to the World Trade Center 9/11 event for about 9 months, cheering as much as they could the rescue workers and families, and did a lot of fundraising for the families of the lost ones. And we advocated for peace every day for hours. So the first baby is Peacenik. The second baby was going to be named Toshi, but Pete asked me not to name the child after his wife, but to name the child what the parents would want their own baby to be named. And he suggested the name would be Ara, which means hello in parrot. So it would be like shalom, salam, aloha, namaste, and then the kids would know an interspecies language and they would say Ara. And this is actually a young man named Caleb. He is in Kingston High School, and his parents run a child care day school in Ruby, New York. And I met Caleb when he was about 8 years old, and he would take the Parrots to the Sinterklaas parade every December in Kingston. There's a big march from the top of Beale Street all the way down to the Rondout and activities. And the Parrots would be part of that. And I was on the formulating committee of that for 8 years. So the Parrots for Peace were very instrumental, and he loved them. So every year he marched with the Parrots for Peace at the front of the parade, and he became their intern. So this is the family at home. And the third child that you saw before is named Hope. And that's for a Pete song. When you sing with younger folk, you can never give up hope. God's counting on me. God's counting on you. Hoping we all pull through. Hoping we all pull through. Hoping we all pull through, me and you. And ultimately, they spend very little time in their cage. They spend a lot of time on the top. And there's a window that they can go outside to their outdoor portion of the cage at will. So in warm days, they're in and out, mostly out. And on days like this, they're out, and then they come in during the evening part. So that is my family. And a lot of the photographs I've taken at the UN and at different places are simply photographs of people holding the parrots and getting a one-on-one experience with them and being transformed.
Thank you, Gloria. That was great.
Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. And thank you, everyone, for the care and the just thoroughness and all the time that it took in putting these presentations together. I just want to say thank you so much. It was a wonderful evening. And another heartfelt thank you to Judy and to Shelley for being a super dynamic duo. And just want to say that our next gathering is on December 8th, and we'll be doing a Zoom party, holiday party. And if anyone wants to share a song or a recipe or some holiday memory or thought, we would really welcome that. And also, I encourage you to reach out to me to become a dynamic duo for next year. We're looking to fill the calendar, and would love to hear from you, and would love to brainstorm about some really creative ideas that we can start to put in place for next year. So now, again, thank you, and I'm going to turn it back over to Leslie.
Okay, thank you, Judy, for putting this all together, and all the other artists for sharing your creative lives. I am humbled to be in your presence, truly. I'm very impressed. I want to thank everyone for your continued support of Ulster County Women's Network. Some of you have been members for years and years. You know, we've been around for 25 years. Some of you will receive notices that your membership is expiring soon, so I hope you will re-up. We've changed to Stripe, got rid of PayPal, so the whole process is more easy. And so I hope you'll just rejoin, or if you haven't joined yet, to go ahead and join. And members get many perks, including you can post your own events on our website, so many people can see that. And also, don't forget to support your business partners. Kristen, do you want to say something?
Melissa asked if we could share the websites of the presenters with the folks that are here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. We don't have that.
Yeah, we do. The blog that I put together that is on the UCWN website connected to this, I'm not sure how you get the blog otherwise, has the bios, and in each one, I believe, I put in the website link for them.
So everybody just go out there and click on news, and then it'll take you to a list of all of our blog entries, and you just click on the most recent one, the virtual studio tour, and you can get the. Okay, we've run over. I hope people's stomachs are not too hungry, but I hope to see you in December. And until then, please know that we are here for you. And remember that this too shall pass. Now have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Wonderful.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Thanks so much.
Yeah, really terrific
job.
Good to see everyone.
Yes.
Carol.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. I have all my earrings from Sarah and from Liz Horn, and my Shekinah from Judith. And I found that I have a beautiful from Geraldine, the beautiful candlesticks here. Don't have that much in Florida, but I love all the artists. All of them are great, just wonderful. I wish I had more.
It's at least once a season.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming.
Yes, thank you so much.
And if we missed anybody and you would like us to do it again next year, we can do another studio visit. I know we missed Karen Whitman. I'm not sure who Susan York, right?
Yes.
You're also an artist.
Yes.
So we definitely, it was partly Shelley and I making the list as fast as we could, but it certainly could be done again.
Yeah, now we have this experience under our belt too. So.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to ring off for everybody. Great to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.